Bumping away and steaming for all to see. El Cachorro, El Cachorro. There's a dawn superheroes here today for you and me. El Cachorro, El Cachorro.
Oh, what's up, Cachorrites? We're back with a movie review. Got to catch up on these, saw a couple movies. So today we're going to just do a quick recap of The Killer's Game, the Dave Bautista, John Wickish action type of movie. Don't get it wrong; it's not a John. Nowhere John Wick's way up here. It's nowhere in your. It's not going to be John Wick level, but so the action hitman action movie, like that. Obviously starring Dave Bautista. Everyone loves, everyone's favorite tracks. Um, it's a so if you don't know the trailer, it's the hitman who falls in love. Then he finds out that he's told he's dying, so he puts a hit on himself to give this love money to live off of because he doesn't want to become this feeble dying vegetable in a hospital bed being kept alive. Then finds out he was misdiagnosed and he's not dying, but then the people won't call off the hit and they start sending hitman after him. That's the rough summary there from you get from the trailers and stuff like that. So no real spoilers there. That's from all in the trailer. So, like I said, it's I said I don't really know. John Wick's kind of the closest thing compared to because the Hitman action movie kind of is like that kind of stuff. It's got like the violence and the action, but it's over the top violence and action. I mean, like a guy getting punched and flying 5 feet in the air and characters that look like they're from pretty much look like I'd say video game characters, uh, with comedy mixed in, obviously. So a lot more comedy than I think John Wick doesn't have a lot of one-liners and quirky comedy. So it's an over-the-top action movie. For what it is, I mean, you go in knowing that don't expect you're seeing an amazing movie. It's better than the other movie I'm going to be reviewing here, which is a surprise considering it's a famous sequel for a long ago movie, if that's a hint for you. So I think it's an enjoyable popcorn movie. I mean, it's a fun ride. It's not nothing you're going to remember. It's good, a fun thing to watch at least once. I'm usually fairly generous on my scores. I mean, I'm not. This isn't the channel that we just blandly just. It sucks. It's a 2. Yeah, I watch a lot of bad movies, so it takes a lot to get down to the 2. So the typical movie for me is a 5, and that's an average whatever movie. And this I'd give a 7. It was, like I said, it was enjoyable for what it was. I know you go in, you don't expect it's not going to be I'm not grading everything. If it's not an Oscar quality movie, it's trash. No, Oscar. I don't care. First off, I don't give a shit about the Oscars. Oscars is a shitty ass award anyways. It don't matter mean shit. Godzilla -1 won best special effects. Didn't get best foreign film. Didn't get best music or sound effects or a whole bunch of stuff that they should have won because it was easily one of the top movies of the year. If you want to go movie quality wise. So that's why I don't give 2 shits about the Oscars. So I don't rank things. Is if I enjoy the movie, if it's a good movie or not. This was a fun movie. My fun movies, they're usually going to come in like 6 to 7s, somewhere in that territory. And then 8s and up is usually where I'll say, okay, this movie was really good. So this movie is a 7. It's a fun action movie. It's over the top. It's a little ridiculous. There is a scene at the end we'll break down a little bit here that I think really kind of throws the movie off a bit. Just whatever, but we'll save that for a minute here. Yeah, Yeah, Dave Bautista obviously in it is the main character. The female lead is Sophia Botella, more known for her role as the lead of Rebel Moon. Hey, she's good in this, okay? I don't blame her for the Rebel Moon. You can only do what you can with Red Riding. Ask Natalie Portman in Star Wars. We have Ben Kingsley has a role in this. His character was pretty good. Alex Kingston, well known for the Doctor Who people, from Matt Smith's Doctor Who. You will remember her. She's her in a role. One of the main bad guy is the Palm Clementif, however you say it, the mantis from the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. Terry Crews has a role in this. And some of these other people, probably something from something or another you may have seen. But there's like a whole bunch of cast of characters, and like I said, there's Drew McIntyre from the WWE gets a role. So like I said, the hitmen, we get a variety of hitmen, and they're all like comic book characters. We get like the Asian gang with their doing their blade stuff and like that. You get a Spanish matador type hitman, two biker guys. Let's see, the two hot stripper chicks. Terry Crews is just gangster lover boy kind of thing. I forget. Drew McIntyre they were the Scottish, just these two over the top Scottish guys, drinking guys, bar fighters. So you get some real over the top kind of like characters. Like I said, I was like video game villains. This movie could be a video game. And like I said, for that, it's enjoyable because there's comedy in it. There's some comedy in it. It works. Most places, it's all right and works. And the story is decent enough to get by on. So, like I said, it's fun. Get your popcorn, watch a movie. Put it on one night, watch it. It's a fun ride. Not something you're probably going to watch many times, but it's good for at least one good watch through. So now we'll break down. Let's talk about it a little bit deeper. I won't do a full in-depth breakdown of this. So, the movie opens up with him doing a hit. He sees he meets his when he first meets the girl. She's a dancer. Hit gets pulled off so well that someone else ends up getting kind of blamed for it. So he's able to easily help her. And she's in the rush to get out of there from the gunfights. She falls, gets her foot stepped on by the stampeding people. So he's there to show up and help carry her out. And they make a connection. And they start dating. He reluctantly starts dating because he's told to have a life. And he starts falling in love with her. But this whole time he keeps having these headaches will come. And he's trying to figure out what's wrong with his headaches. And he comes back and the doctor comes back and tells him he's got some rare disease he's gonna die in a couple months. So he doesn't want her to see him like that, and he doesn't want to go out like that, and he can't. He got like a life insurance policy, and I think he's supposed to have a life insurance policy. So he makes a deal to have someone kill him because he wants to die, and then she's supposed to, I guess, get the money and stuff like that, given her to live off of. And then, so right before the hit supposed to go into effect. Then we have a scene where because this is probably the second other scene that's really weird. So they kind of meet up right before the hit's supposed to go into effect at midnight. He meets up with her to say he's going out of town. He don't think he'll be back. So he pretty much breaks up with the girl. Which, okay. Because they're like, I got something to tell you, and you got something to tell me, and he breaks up with her. As soon as he gets back to his place, he's like leaving her like a text voicemail saying what he's dying and stuff like that. And so it's like, okay, so you immediately send her a text message telling her that what's going on. Of course, she's like depressed, drinking at a bar. It's like a nightclub, so people are dancing all around. She's at the bar drinking. She hears the message. So it's really weird, this sequence of it, because she hears this message and doesn't we don't really see her react to it. So the midnight hits, and before he can call off, he's trying to call off the hit, but the Asian gang shows up first. So he goes to this big action sequence with them, and it's over the top, just comical, comedic action. So once he disposes of them, then he calls her and leaves her a voicemail, telling her that she needs to get out of town, blah 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 blah, and all this stuff. So we cut to her, and she's still at the bar, and gets that message too. And huh? So I was like, so it's kind of that whole sequence of events is just kind of pushed, I guess, for the storyline. So we're gonna get to that one was okay at least. There's gonna be one towards the end that's really that I want to talk about here in a minute. It's really kind of throws the story off a bit. So then we got to go through this whole thing where the chick won't call off the thing because she wants to kill him because he killed her dad at once upon a time. So she's like upping the stakes and calling in every person she can. And so he ends up setting this big trap at some castle thing. So there's lures them in, starts taking out these hitmen one by one, and of course they found out about her. So the Terry Crews character is able to kidnap the girl, and he's been thrown together with some sidekick. He's being forced to take on this ridiculous. What's the best way to describe this guy? If you ever heard the weird song "Pretty Fly" for a white guy, it looks like that kind of. He's that kind of guy. So they kidnap the girl, and so the big fight ends up, and he's taking out all the hitmen, and the girl's also able to trick the other dude free her, so she gets free. He gets the car, and she rescues him at the last second, and they're getting the hell out of there. Where he confesses, I'm a hitman and all this stuff like that, and I only kill bad people, criminals and stuff like that. I don't ever take, hits against innocent people, which they've discussed that earlier in the movie. And that's when she reveals that she was going to tell him that she's pregnant. He's a dad, of course. And then she starts like passing out at the car, at the wheel, and he's like gets able to ease the car off to the side of the road, and reveals in the escape that she got hit by a bullet. Never mentioned it, just chick who's just a dancer and never in this kind of lifestyle doesn't mention that she got hit by a bullet. So she's passed out, and then he have a scene where he just he's walking out of the woods carrying her to a church instead of just taking her, putting the passenger side of the car and driving the car himself to somewhere. He just leaves the car behind and just takes the girl and go walking through the woods and stumbles upon a church. And he keeps checking her pulse, and it's like, I guess she's supposedly dying. He acts like I guess she's losing her pulse, and he's freaking out. And there's the minister of the church shows up. I'm not a doctor. Really a vet in town. Then she wakes up. She wakes up and she's like, oh, you were grazed by a bullet. Yeah, you went through this whole little sequence acting like she was dying, and it was just a bullet grazed her. And she wakes up and she's fine now. But they're at the church, so while they're at the church, they decide they want to get married. But before she get married, he's got to do a confession with the preacher. So he's supposed to go through tell the preacher about every single hit he's ever done. Sounds like this would something that would a story that would take like 4 or 5 days. And right before they're getting married, Terry Crews busts in, shoots the preacher, but he lives. And we get the final action sequence at the church. This all felt so out of place. This whole her passing out from getting grazed, going to this church, getting to get married. This totally threw off a lot of the tempo of the movie there. Just because I guess they got to be at the church for the inset piece. So they had to find a way to get them to the church. So that is definitely the weakest part of the story, because that just felt super duper forced. So the bad chick sent her bodyguard people in as mercenaries to supposedly assist with the killing him. But Terry Crews also said about the first time, got by, like, I want $6 million, and the mercenaries kind of turn on him too. So now they're kind of both fighting. Both Terry Crews and Batista's characters are both fighting the mercenaries, and everybody's got like grenades all over the place. So there's grenades everywhere. So Terry Crews ends up getting pinned under some scaffolding that fell from a grenade. Incapacitating him. Then we get a scene with the main bounty mercenary guy is about to take out Dave Bautista, and the girl has the shotgun and she blows his head off, saving Bautista. And since the chick from the movie used mercenaries and on the hit and stuff like that, supposedly that broke the rules of, the hitmen rules, and then Ben Kingsley shoots and kills her because she broke the rules. Like, supposedly that's what her dad did too. That's why he got killed. And then we see them. Then they get married and everything's all happy, lovey-dovey. So, like I said, the story's not a lot to write a home about, but the action's fun. It's some crazy over the top fighting, and like the Matador guy is like fights with dance and stuff like that, and he uses spurs on his boots as weapons, and the motorcycle guys would fight with their bikes, and so like I said, the action is fun over the top action sequence. I said I'd give it, maybe I could lower it to 6.5, but I do think that I like this movie better than the other movie I saw, so I'm going to keep it at 7. And that's the I went to the theater, couldn't remember the name of the movie. They're just like, the Dave Bautista movie. The Killer's Game. Okay, for some reason, that movie. So, stay tuned for my other movie review. Like I said, I gave you the hint. It's a sequel for a decades-old movie. Pretty obvious what that is. Until next time, Cachorro out.